So Jesus said, for you to worship, you must worship in spirit and in truth. That means that realm has to open to you, that civilization, so you understand the one that you are interacting with, and you understand his rank, his stature, his essence, his being, before you can bring worship to his realm. But our world is falling. Our world needs to be educated again as touching the things of God, because there are credentials God gave to us to help us to interact with this realm. I taught you before that in the Garden of Eden there were 5 things God gave man. Let us make man in our own image. That's one. That's God's glory, God's nature. Number 2, in our own likeness. That's his holy character. Number 3, he said, let them have dominion. That's his authority, the ability to represent his government. Number 4, he said, in the cool of the day, the voice of God came walking in the garden. That's his presence. And number 5, he said there was a tree in the garden, the tree of life. So man was supposed to function by God's glory, by God's righteous character, by God's authority, by God's presence, and by God's life, so that he too can participate in that realm. But when the devil came and said, disobey God, man thought it was about, oh, I'm falling, I've disobeyed God, oh, I'm sorry. It's not about I'm sorry. The moment he disobeyed God, he fell from his throne, and the omniscient one came and said, Adam, Adam, where art thou? That means that disobedience was a dislocation. You are no longer a prince of Zion. You are falling from your rank among the immortals. This is how deep the realm we are talking about is. And this is why we will not rest until this world is recolonized. When we go about winning souls and discipling men, is an attempt of colonization, so that we bring them back to the realm that is their original nativity. A generation needs to be taught again the ways of God. A generation needs to be recolonized again from the powers of darkness, because some of us, we have journeyed too far. So even the echoes of eternity, we can't hear them anymore. So God is raising new functionaries that will come by the testimonies of the finished works of Christ, to tell you, you are falling, but God is not mad at you. Come back home. The price has been paid. Because sacrifice and atonement is another civilization of that realm. So you didn't know what happened, but when Jesus died for you, an exchange took place. If you accept what he did, you'll be restored back and as a prince, so that you can begin this interaction again. And as you begin this interaction, you will now start growing in light. You will grow again. And this type of growth is not, I was 2 cm, now I'm 7 cm. That's not what we are saying. This type of growth is for you to come into the fullness of the measure of the stature of Christ. And Paul gave us the credentials in Ephesians chapter 4, from verse 11 to verse 16. He said, you are not tossed to and fro. A lot of things begin to happen. You interact with the unity of the faith, the knowledge of the Son of God. You start learning new things. So you come to church, for example, the person sitting by you is not a stranger. Although you didn't come from the same village, but it's deeper, it's closer to you than your brother. In fact, it's a part of your body. He said you will come to a point where you can see the next person as closer to you than your biological brother. That one is part of you. It's called the unity of the faith. Now, how is that possible? Except as by light you now understand that in Christ we are one. So although he came from the north, you came from the east, but we were baptized into one body. So when you look, somebody is sitting by your left, that person is your ear. Another person is sitting in front of you, that person is your chest. If you hurt that person, you hurt yourself. And so if the person offends you, you forgive him even before he asks for it. And somebody else looks at you and says, are you foolish? Why did you forgive him? You are walking by light. You now see that person as part of you. So if you hurt that person, it's like flapping yourself. Who will be hurt? Both of you. Because you are now one. But that kind of civilization cannot be taught in the world. It is taught in Christ. This is the world that Jesus has called us into, to colonize this realm, so that everybody will come back into the kingdom. And when we come back into the kingdom, this will become our lifestyle. And it is one of it that he taught us tonight. Worship, worship, worship. When you come here, you forget yourself. You submit to God. You exalt his name. And you are satisfied for doing so. He said, this is deeper than I bought a car. This is deeper than I have a house. This is actually knowing who God truly is. and then surrendering to his government and exalting him for who he is and for what he has done. And the things he has done are not just mundane things, they are eternal things. I think we need to go back to study some things again, to understand who we are and where we came from. Sir, we came from far. We are here, but we are ambassadors of another dispensation. We are pilgrims from another aeon. We are not of here. Although we are here, we are of heaven. And we must learn our ways. And one of the things that define who we are is worship. But unfortunately, most of us can't worship. Even as we were worshiping a moment ago, some persons crossed their legs and they were looking around. You don't know thou art worthy. If you know thou art worthy, and if you know that's the culture of your word, you will fall down or lift up your hands and say, holy is the Lord. Holy is the Lord. Even when you bring your gifts before him, you will do it with trembling. And you don't do it because you are happy. You do it because it's your culture. That's your realm. That's your reality. I may want to buy a house. I've not bought it. It won't stop me from worshiping. I may be trusting God for healing. I've not had it. It won't stop me. This is the culture of my world. I come from another aeon. But it will take light for you to know that much. Can we lift our hands?